Hello, HITC Sport. I am the Irish guy. To me, the League Cup final is usually about as memorable an event as playing Scrabble with your dog. Yeah, it's not all that interesting. Crazy enough, even when you Google it, you've suddenly got fireworks threatening to blow up the screen. No, I'm sorry, it's a competition. About as exciting as eating brill cream on toast. Stop trying to give my desktop a goddamn heart attack. This entire competition, something which changes its name more than Ashley Cole's ex-wife. Honestly, I can't keep up. I mean, it's still called the Carabao, right? Named after some energy drink from Thailand with a fat buffalo on the front. I mean, has anyone ever bought that drink from a shop? I mean, I've never seen it in my life. I'm convinced it's just some mythical potion. You know, like squeezing breast milk from a unicorn. It doesn't actually exist. I mean, do you know who else Carabao sponsor? FC Kujland in the Tajikistan. I mean, this is a nothing tournament. And we already have the FA Cup. I mean, I can imagine when this was first introduced in 1961, there was probably uproar in the streets. It's just the B-Tech FA Cup. Honestly, it'd be like UEFA trying to give us a second Champions League. I mean, the very thought would make you so ill that your kidneys would probably feel like soggy Weetabix. But anyway, this competition, there's never usually any jeopardy, any shock. No, because this trophy hadn't actually left Manchester since 2016. I mean, clearly nobody's ever told Guardiola that this competition is actually about as prestigious as winning a certificate for playing PlayStation 2. Honestly, these winners' medals might as well be printed off the internet. But still, we had Chelsea versus Liverpool. The battle of the German managers. Oh, come on, this is always going to be a ferocious and atmospheric clash of the titans, right? I mean, Liverpool fans do not want to make the trip to Wembley, getting up at 4 AM to drink tins of Guinness out of their mate's belly button on the megabus if they're only just going to wind up losing to Chelsea. You know, the London company who tried their level best to break up their marriage with Stevie G. Ozzy, forget the title race, the Luis Garcia goal, the Rafa Benitez treatment. I'm pretty sure Liverpool hate Chelsea purely for turning the head of Gerrard in 2005. I mean, in the same way that even to this day, Rachel off Friends probably still has dreams of pushing that Tomb Raider homewrecker in front of a moving train. It's a huge match, but it's a confusing one because this competition for so long had been used as a venue for kids. Although not everyone gets the memo. Like 2 years ago for a quarter-final, Liverpool picked a team with an average age of 19 for a trip to Villa Park before getting bullied by actual men who've clearly outgrown puberty. Honestly, these were grown adults with a wife and mortgage. I mean, that Liverpool dressing room probably stank of Lynx Africa, Spot Cream, and at least 5 young boys pretending to know what a vagina looks like. By air, were there any kids on show? Just one. Young Quadine Kelleher, some former striker from Cork who only took up goalkeeping lessons in 2013. I'm sorry, but Romelu Lukaku was banging in 17 goals for West Brom and netting a hat-trick against Manchester United before this guy had ever picked up a pair of football gloves. And now you're failing to score past it. Again, this was football's answer to an MMA legend getting knocked out by Jake Paul. I'm sorry, but if you only get stuffed in goal for the first time aged 15, you by all rights should not be winning a cup final against Chelsea when you're 23. And scoring the winning penalty. That is mental. Kelleher is a 23-year-old Champions League winning goalkeeper. And guess what, lads? He's still yet to make his competitive debut for Ireland. I mean, you can still dig up a granny from Grimsby or Stoke, and you can still theoretically declare for England. Although, good luck singing God Save the Queen at Wembley when you've got 7 vowels and a fada in your name. But this isn't about Kelleher. No, this is all about Kepa'S. This guy must hate this competition with a violent passion. I mean, if League Cup finals did not exist, then this guy wouldn't be seen as football's punchline. But no, it's because of him refusing to come off this pitch 3 years ago that's caused most people to assume that he's a modern day diva. You know, football's answer to Mariah Carey. Someone who'd probably stab her butler in the face if he dared to serve her an undercooked muffin. But I'll admit it, when this guy refused to leave the pitch against Man City in 2019, staring Mauricio Sarri down and choosing to stay on, seeing poor little Willie Caballero trudge back to the bench, I thought this guy was Stamford Bridge's answer to King Joffrey. You know, some jumped up little rich boy who loves himself so much he'd probably lick his armpits and convince himself that it tasted like strawberry ice cream. And now, 3 years later, just when football has warmed to this guy, after accepting his role as bench warmer, despite being the most expensive goalie in the sport, fair play! And yet still, he's another laughing stock. This is apparently a genius roll of the dice, right? Taking off a trophy addict in Edouard Mendy, someone who's already won 2 competitions in the space of a month. Oh yeah, and the FIFA Best Goalkeeper award. So I'm sorry, if you've got a world-class medal magnet standing in your goal, you've got to have a pretty good reason to take him off. I mean, come on, it's not like Chelsea were starting with Rob Green in net. No, this is Mendy. He just won a penalty shootout with Senegal. But Mendy, he's only ever saved 2 penalties for Chelsea in his entire life. Kepa, including shootouts, has saved 14. I mean, Come on. I have absolutely no problem with Thomas Tuchel bringing Kepa onto the pitch for a penalty shootout. This was his moment. He should have been ready. He's a penalty expert, right? No, instead he just jumped about like the Spanish Joe Hart, trying to intimidate the Liverpool players. No, Kepa, no, I'm sorry. You can't suddenly try to act like Leatherface doing the haka when you look like a One Direction reject. Oh, come on, look at this. For Virgil van Dijk's penalty, and he's practically crawled into the corner of the net. I mean, was this you trying to psych the Dutchman out? Clearly it didn't work because Van Dijk still nearly blew you into the stanchion with a rocket top corner penalty. Kepa, you just watched the entire Liverpool starting 11 walk up to the spot, look you in the eyes before rolling the ball past you. Every single one. I'm sorry, am I the one who thinks that a goalkeeper being paid £150,000 a week should at the very least be able to save 1 out of 11? If I was Luis Enrique, the Spanish manager, and watching that, I would feel like punching myself in the groin. Because honestly, in the last year, he's seen both David De Gea and now Kepa watch a combined 22 footballers, including the goddamn goalie, waddle up to score penalties past them in cup finals. Honestly, if Spain get to the World Cup final this year, make sure you have Unai Simon in goal. All I want to see in a penalty shootout is just for them to repeat. I mean, if it goes on for more than 10 minutes, then I just want to see everyone score. And then see the players bottle when we suddenly have to take 2. Because Christ above, scoring 1 penalty in a shootout, that is the ultimate relief. Your turn is over. It's fine. It's done. All the muscles in your body can instantly relax. To the point where you probably have to stop yourself doing a poo in your shorts, right? Christ above, can you imagine the pressure on Timo Werner? Everyone inside that stadium thought he'd miss. Christ above, even his own mother sitting at home on the couch with a bowl of hobnobs probably thought he'd miss. It's a very Timo Werner thing. So being told to do it again, suddenly take 2 pens in a shootout, I'm sure we would have suddenly seen high caliber footballers crumble before our eyes. I mean, come on, who actually thinks that Reece James is scoring 2 in a penalty shootout? Good grace, if Kepa just slotted his penalty, then James Milner was up next. And for an old man like him, I'm convinced after 20 years of football, probably has lungs begging for mercy, I'm convinced him watching Kepa take that penalty, he must have felt like vomiting up his nerves. Taking 2 pens in front of a Wembley crowd of 90,000 people with millions watching at home on the telly. Oh yeah, and the thing is, you've already played your hand. Kepa already knows your favourite side, so Christ above, it's like a stand-up comic being passed the microphone at the back of a pub and being told to make the same set of jokes twice. Just horrific. But that's what I wanted. I wanted for Marcos Alonso to be squeezed into the uncomfortable position of taking 2. But no, we were denied that by a Spanish goalie in the Europa League final. And again here, because just like De Gea, Kepa quickly showed the world that he's got the goal-scoring technique of a wheelchair-bound polar bear. Bam! Straight into the crowd. We had just seen 21 immaculate penalties. I just wanted to see the ball hit the back of the net, not break the nose of an old woman who'd been dragged to the game by her son. I mean, Kepa, have you ever tried to take a penalty in your life? Because this honestly looks like you were just trying to take a goal kick. No, I'm sorry, you're not trying to find Lukaku's face 30 yards from goal. No, just please, keep it low. Look at Kelleher. Bang! Easy job done. But this, aiming for the top corner, and instead, nearly hitting the burger van outside the ground. But you know what? I feel bad for Kepa. Again, this man who ever since arriving in England has had his reputation smeared through a puddle of donkey piss at the zoo. Yes, he was the epitome of a panic buy. But that's what happens when you sell your world-class goalie to Real Madrid with 3 weeks of the window left. Ozzy, do you know how hard it is to buy goalkeepers in August, halfway through pre-season? I mean, it's a bit like trying to do your entire Christmas shopping at 3 p.m. on Christmas Eve. Yeah, I hope your mother enjoys a handful of dog food wrapped in a gift box. I mean, tell me what your granny says when she sees all you managed to buy her is a plastic knob. Price of the week Courtois was sold, Chelsea were apparently trying to buy Jack Butland from Stoke. Again, someone who's clearly got the self-confidence of John Goodman at the beach. I mean, they tried and failed to sign Jan Oblak and Alisson Becker. I mean, can you imagine if they had bought the Brazilian? The only reason they didn't buy him from Roma was because they hesitated at the start of the summer, blindly hoping Courtois would stay. I mean, this move would have changed football. I mean, Klopp has made it clear that if he hadn't been able to sign Alisson, he was happy to persist with Loris Karius in goal. You know, someone with the reflexes of a crippled pigeon. Imagine what Virgil van Dijk would have thought about playing in front of a male Instagram model for a full season. Just, no! The uncertainty. It's been like having a faulty smoke alarm in your house. I mean, can you really sleep well knowing there's a 15% chance that your teapot is going to burn down the kitchen? I mean, where would Edouard Mendy be? It's clear Petr Cech was the only one in football who discovered him at Rennes. So by now, Liverpool instead, they probably have Joe Hart in net. I mean, doesn't that just make your mouth fill up with blood? Well, actually, maybe, best case scenario, they might have been able to sign Gianluigi Donnarumma last summer, but while at Bilbao, Kepa had been linked with Real Madrid. If Courtois didn't have that mega World Cup in 2018, if instead he just spent the 3 weeks looking like a sloppy human pancake and getting nutmegged by wingers from Japan, then who knows? Kepa Arrizabalaga might be the current Real Madrid #1. I mean, let's be honest, this man will be an unflappable, top quality, confident shot stopper in La Liga. It's just, suddenly, stick him in goal for a trip to Burnley. I mean, have him try to collect corner kicks when he's got a sweaty Ben Mee unapologetically stamping on his foot and Jay Rodriguez trying to elbow him in the teeth. I mean, of course, there are going to be mistakes. Kepa is a £70 million goalkeeper who played 4 league games this season. A guy who didn't even have the backing of a manager straight off the bus from Derby County. He was dropped by a man whose previous experience of management was juggling between Scott Carson and Kel Roos. I'm sorry, when Lampard was screaming in Kepa's face for not being good enough, what, would he spend the last 3 months picking some Dutch beanpole who failed to win a contract with an Nuneaton town? I mean, just what? Kepa is a good player, and I'm just a bit sad that people now laugh at him. I like Kelleher, I want him to do well, but Klopp just called him the best #2 in the world. I'm sorry, look at the price tag alone. It should be a given that Kepa is the best #2 in the world, right? I mean, that's what he probably tells himself in the mirror every morning before work, right? I mean, if he didn't, how would he be able to look his teammates in the eye over a bowl of cornflakes? It would just be too embarrassing. This man is desperately trying to convince himself that he's not in the same career wormhole as Karius. I mean, the worst position in football is being a second choice goalkeeper. I mean, the best position is being a third choice goalie because that is the easiest job in football. I mean, you don't expect to play, so it's fine. I'm sure Tom Heaton probably returned to Manchester last summer only to stuff his face with Jaffa cakes on the couch every day. Honestly, he could scuttle into training every morning, smelling like a mixture of Pepsi and vodka. I mean, he could spend the previous night cuddling with a 63-year-old stripper in a very public bin and nobody would really care. But being a second choice goalie, you want to play. I'm sorry, but you do. And yeah, for you, it's almost impossible to get a move away because nobody ever wants to sell their #2. I'm convinced being a second choice goalie is the most miserable position in football. Honestly, I never want to attend a party exclusively for second choice goalies because it might as well be a disco for the recently divorced middle-aged men. The dance floor is going to be a sticky mess of tears and spunk. Honestly, look around the top clubs in the world. Bernd Leno, Dean Henderson, Pierluigi Gollini, Alphonse Areola, Gianluigi Donnarumma. They must feel like prisoners. Grown men with monster egos who I'm convinced go home every night and honestly must feel like biting a chunk of cement off the living room wall. It's just pure frustration, honestly. I'm not sure how Keylor Navas's brain hasn't snapped. He's one of the best goalies in the world, but because he's an unfashionable name from Costa Rica, he's always had a fight to keep his job at Real Madrid and even last summer at PSG. But Kepa, he needs to move, going forth through a £50 million move to Newcastle. Honestly, Kepa, I know it might not sound that appealing. I mean, a fragile paper bag of a man being told to swap London for the rainy wet of Newcastle, but trust me, do it. The Geordies, yes, they love a #9, but they also love a #1. Crazy of Shay Given, Tim Krul, even Martin Dubravka. I mean, 30 minutes after his debut against Man United, and they were already calling him the best goalie in the league. Go to Newcastle, be part of an exciting era. Be the Spanish Shay Given for a team hurtling up the league. You could be to Newcastle United what Joe Hart was for Manchester City. A young, ambitious and hungry goalkeeper establishing himself as one of the best in the world. Although, to be fair, if Hart didn't exist, then I'm pretty sure Kasper Schmeichel would have done that job. Lads, if Joe Hart was never born, Peter Schmeichel's son would have won the Premier League with Manchester City. What? But yeah, my point is, Kepa, you could be Joe Hart with Newcastle. I mean, it's got to be a better gig than walking around Chelsea with a fat flop price tag and having the dignity of a Geordie Shore reject. Honestly, Kepa, move to Newcastle. Anyway, that's it. What do you think? Alright, let me know. Should Kepa move? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe. As always, I'll talk to you in a while.